Question to the ex-cult community. So not just ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, but other groups who perhaps have had similar rules like Jehovah's Witnesses. How have you found the cost of living crisis? So for Jehovah's Witnesses, they are strongly told not to take on a higher education. So no colleges, universities. They're also strongly told not to build a career or pursue maybe what their dream is. So if somebody wanted to be a sports star or a doctor or a lawyer or an actress, anything really that doesn't involve knocking on doors. So now you've left. Let's say you don't have your own business, and perhaps you just do a normal menial job and you don't have a skill or a qualification. The reason I'm giving this scenario is so when I was recruiting in Latvia, there was a lot of young people who got recruited at the same time. The organisation was still very new there and not many knew much about it. It was exciting. And many young people who joined the Jehovah's Witness organisation decided to not pursue higher education or they dropped out of higher education. Now, my education level was GCSEs, and then I dropped out of doing what is considered A levels in UK. So that's when you carry on going to school till 18. And of course, I don't have higher education, such as university. I don't have a skill. I don't have qualifications, so I couldn't be a hairdresser or, anything like that without actually going to and training for it. Now, I do intend to still pursue higher education, even though I am 42. But of course, at this point in time, before I have done this education, which is going to take a long time for me because I have to do it part-time, being a single parent, and I do also work. But right at this point in time, I'm sometimes thinking what I could have achieved if I had had higher education. Where would I be now? And this is where I really resent the 22 years I spent as a Jehovah's Witness. And yes, I can't turn the time back. I can't change things. But it really, really upsets me sometimes because of the time I've lost that I could have spent making my life the way I wanted it. So there was me, 14, 15, thinking, Armageddon's coming any minute. Next 2 years, I got to like 17, 18. Got married at 18, thinking Armageddon's coming any minute. And you just keep going and thinking, well, there's no point doing this or that. There's no point doing that course or learning something because Armageddon's coming and I don't want to be destroyed. And then I got to a point when I was 33 and suddenly I became a single parent, divorced. I had to move in social housing with 2 young children. I hadn't been at work after children were born, so I had to go and find a job after a little while. And because I didn't have any higher education, I could only go back to what I'd done before, which was being an admin assistant. Now, nothing wrong with admin assistant, but however, when I was one, obviously the organisation discourages people from aiming higher, from maybe taking extra classes or, promoting yourself in any company, any job, so that maybe you get a higher position with better money coming in. So none of that. And then there was me at 33. I had nothing. I knew nothing. And I realised that I never want my kids to be in that situation, because even if you get married and you think you're going to be with someone for the rest of your life, something can happen and you end up having to start from scratch. And there isn't anyone you can fall back on, no one to support you, no one to have your back. You literally start from scratch, and you are in your 30s and you've got kids and very few options. Now, some may say, well, you're still young, you can achieve things. Yes, but my most important job is being a mom. So I had to focus, and especially back then, on my children who were still quite little. Now they are older. Like I said, I do intend to pursue education part-time, higher education. But even then, that will take at least good 6 years to complete, and I would still have to start from scratch and enter the cost of living crisis. So my wages altogether, everything that I earn, have remained the same since I went back to work end of 2020 after the lockdowns ended, because I had lost my job before that, which was in offices admin. So I actually went into caring for somebody who's disabled, and I really love my job. The job itself is fine, but the personal allowance in the UK has been frozen. So even if I earned more money in my wages, the top-up benefits that I get as a single parent and somebody who has disabilities and I cannot work full-time physically, they would diminish, and I would still end up with the same amount every month. So since end of 2020, beginning of 2021, my total income has stayed the same. But of course, everything else has gone up, double, triple, maybe even more. So gas and electric, triple. Rent has gone up, council tax has gone up, food's gone up, fuel's gone up, everything's gone up, except my income. So as an example, let's say before I would have £400 left over every month that I could either save or use for a holiday or treat myself and my kids, or, put it aside for school trips. However, now that everything is doubled and tripled and quadrupled, I don't have anything left over at all. In fact, I have to kind of choose between heating or eating. And those are the times I think, I wish I had not wasted 22 years on a religion, a doomsday religion, and I could have had my own place. I could have owned my car or had a better car, because my car is like 25 years old and on its last legs, and I cannot afford to replace it or repair it. And my income could have been higher. So all these things put together, I am so angry. I am so angry. The fact that I've wasted all that time on Jehovah's Witnesses, and I lost out on the 22 years of my life, the 22 years that were my best years, as in I was younger, I was more healthier, I had more energy. Now obviously I'm not old, but I've developed disabilities that prevent me from doing more than I wanted to. And by the time I get to where I want to be, I think I might be ready to retire. Tell me what your experience is and how you feel about this. And remember, not if you've got your own business or have a skill. This is for those who've left with nothing and you've had to start from scratch.